Take two demolition companies. We'll call the first one Company A. And you'd think maybe the second company would be called Company B, but it isn't. Instead, we're going to call it Company question mark. And a proper name is just one of the many things that the second company doesn't have, each of which affords it an unfair advantage over Company A. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's start with Company A. Company A is reputable and well regarded by clients and peers alike. They do things right by their staff and right by those they work for. They pay their employees well and offer a range of employment benefits, including sick pay, holiday pay, maternity and paternity leave, pension contributions, and national insurance payments. They also train all their staff at considerable cost, not just once, but on an ongoing basis. Staff turnover is low, and those that do leave often return having discovered that the grass is not so green elsewhere as they thought. The firm operates from a state-of-the-art head office that's filled to the rafters with the very latest in super-fast computers and equally fast broadband. The head office is so comfortable and so well equipped that staff come in early and leave late out of choice. Company A invests in the very latest equipment and prides itself on replacing most of its machines within 3 years. They buy the best attachments, not out of ego, but because they want the job done properly. They were quick to embrace quick couplers and are constantly seeking ways to make their machines safer, more productive, even though innovation often carries a hefty price tag. They could get their fuel, their oils, and their lubricants cheaper elsewhere, but having invested in the best equipment they can afford, they insist on using only the best and the most expensive. They also refuse to buy spurious spare parts, preferring to buy direct from their chosen dealer for ensured quality and to protect their warranty. The company spends an almost ludicrous amount of money on insurance, both public liability and equipment insurance. That insurance is overseen by an internal person who also monitors shifts in regulations and legislation to ensure that the company remains one step ahead. They get precious little in return, but Company A also pays to be a member of a trade body in the increasingly vain hope of strength in numbers should things turn nasty for the wider industry. Metals from their demolition projects are sent to a reputable scrap company so they have a proper paper trail and to provide full transparency and value for their clients. Company A's waste minimisation protocol ensures that everything that can be reclaimed, recycled, or reused is suitably segregated. And on the increasingly rare occasions they do have actual waste, it's sent to a fully licensed and reputable landfill for careful disposal. The company supports several charities, sponsors the local school football team, and operates a well-funded and highly successful apprenticeship program to ensure a constant flow of enthusiastic young people into its workforce. In short, Company A does right by its staff, by its clients, the local community, and the environment. It actively seeks out information about changes in regulations to ensure that it is always fully compliant. That's Company A. Now let's shift our attention to Company question mark. And let's start with that curious name. The truth is, the company doesn't really have a name. It's not an entity in the truest sense of the word. It prefers to fly under the radar. It has no head office as such for precisely the same reason. Best to keep the authorities, the regulators, and the taxman guessing. The company actually has no staff in the traditional sense. There's a handful of guys they pick up and put down according to workload, but none of them are actually qualified. But company question mark doesn't worry about such formalities. And besides, if they're not qualified, they don't have to concern themselves with training or competence cards or holiday pay or sick pay or maternity leave. Company question mark has a strict order when it comes to work. They like to get in early and strip anything that might be sold for cash. Scrap metal, slates, tiles, and that cash will be used to pay the guys in cash that are working on the project for the first few weeks. The company's not especially focused on sustainability either. If they can sell a risings at a profit, they will, but if they can't, they bypass official landfills, preferring to create their own down a country lane somewhere. Their equipment isn't owned, it's hired in. And while some might arm themselves with quick couplers and an array of attachments, company question mark makes do with a grab. After all, any wear and tear on the carrier machine, not really their problem, is it? Fuel, lubricants, oil, cheapest they can find. And if it happens to come from a questionable source or a rival site, yeah, that's just dandy too. Company question mark doesn't belong to a trade association, and it doesn't attend industry conferences or events. For one thing, it has no interest in shifts in legislation or market trends. They don't apply to them. Besides, they wouldn't be particularly welcome. They've undercut and stitched up pretty much everyone in the industry. But here's the thing. Company A, with all its overheads, staff benefits, and administrative and financial burdens, is expected to compete directly with a company that has none. And the clients, the ones that espouse best practice and transparency, are quite happy to turn a blind eye if they can get the demolition done on the cheap. So, welcome to the modern demolition world, where honesty is penalised, where disreputable trumps reputable, and where clients' insistence on the lowest possible price breeds dishonesty.